Get Middlesbrough FC updates directly to your inbox. Plus subscribe. Thank you for subscribing. Could not subscribe? Try again later. Invalid email. All eyes will be on Garry Monk when he walks out of the Elland Road tunnel on Sunday and takes his place in the technical area. He's expected to get roundly booed by the Leeds United supporters after leaving the club in the summer and then taking charge at Middlesbrough. Gazette Borough editor Philip Tallentire explains why Monk doesn't deserve the hostile reception he's expected to encounter. If a section of the Leeds United fan base is to be believed, Garry Monk is a Judas, a traitor, someone who left the club high as soon as Borough came calling. Frankly, that's nonsense. Had Leeds United made Monk a serious offer at the end of last season, there is no reason to suspect he wouldn't be watching Sunday's game from the home dugout. The fact is they didn't. But let's start at the beginning. Monk was appointed as Leeds United's head coach in June 2016, signing a one-year rolling contract. Agreeing to manage the West Yorkshire club was something of a gamble for Monk given the then owner Massimo Cellino's track record for sacking his managers. Monk was the club's seventh head coach inside 2.5 years, though Cellino was happy to talk him up on the day of his unveiling. He said, "He was a fighter as a player and now he's the same as a manager, as we saw when he did very well at Swansea City. I feel he can really bring the best out of the team." Monk may well have been tempted by the prospect of turning Leeds from perennial underachievers into promotion candidates. He'll also have been keen to get back into management after being sacked by Swansea in December 2015. It turned out the move was good for Leeds and for Monk. The manager transformed the team into genuine promotion contenders who eventually ran out of steam and finished 7th. He came close to becoming another Cellino statistic early in the campaign after Leeds suffered several poor results, but he eventually steadied the ship. Off the pitch last season, the Italian sold 50% of his stake in the club to compatriot Andrea Radrizzani in January and the remaining 50% to the same buyer in May. The departure of such a divisive figure was widely welcomed by Leeds fans, and it was expected to mark the beginning of an era of greater stability at Elland Road. On the confirmation of his complete buyout of Cellino, Radrizzani said, "This is a long-term commitment. There is a lot of hard work ahead of us and I am aware of my responsibilities as owner of Leeds United. I can assure all supporters that everyone at this club will be doing all we can to build a successful team at Elland Road." So where did the takeover leave Monk? Such was the impressive job he'd done with the team in difficult circumstances. The reward of a long-term deal would, in normal circumstances, have quickly followed. But soon after Radrizzani's buyout, reports claimed the club would only be triggering the clause to kick off Monk's one-year contract extension rather than tabling a long-term deal. In the Telegraph, James Ducker wrote on May 23, "Leeds will seek to protect themselves in the short term by extending Monk's contract by a year, before that option expires next Wednesday. Monk wants and expects a longer-term deal, but discussions over the manager's future were placed on hold while Radrizzani pushed through his buyout." The key line in the second sentence is Monk wants and expects a longer-term deal. 2 days later, he resigned, preempting the club's intention to invoke his one-year contract extension. A statement from Leeds read, "We are shocked and disappointed by Garry's decision, but his resignation has been reluctantly accepted by Chairman Andrea Radrizzani. Andrea made it clear to the media yesterday that his intention was to exercise the club's option to extended the manager's contract for another 12 months and immediately begin negotiations for a longer-term deal." Mr. Radrizzani has met with Garry twice since taking over at Elland Road earlier this week, and during the second meeting yesterday it became clear that Garry was considering life beyond Leeds. United, as at no time did Garry wish to discuss terms for a longer contract. Following that meeting yesterday, Garry's agent requested that the option was not exercised and his resignation was received this morning. Whilst we are deeply saddened by Garry's decision, there is no individual bigger than our club, and we will now begin a process to identify and appoint a new head coach to take the club to the next level. That statement did Monk few favors with the Leeds fans, because that suggested Radrizzani was in the process of offering him a long-term deal. The Gazette understands that Monk's view of his situation at Leeds was somewhat different. Had been seeking an assurance about his future and was prepared to commit his long-term future to the club. Image. Getty Images Europe. Monk was planning to move his family into the Leeds area, but naturally wanted the security of a decent contract before doing so. A one-year extension offered no real financial security, given he could have been sacked after a few games if the club made a poor start the 2017-18 season. Monk no doubt wanted the peace of mind of a contract that allowed him time to build a strong squad. A contract future-proofed against the occasional sequence of poor results. The day after his departure, Leeds reporter Phil Hay wrote in the Yorkshire Evening Post, "Sources close to Monk said he was disappointed by the prospect of a 12-month renewal and had not been given enough assurance that a more substantial contract was coming." Monk said in a lengthy statement last night that "My intention was always to remain at Leeds United. But unfortunately we have been unable to agree a suitable way for us to all move forward." Very much his own man. Looking at the situation from the outside, surely the new Leeds owner would see Monk as the right man to take the club to the next level. His sole season in charge had been an impressive probationary period, so why not reward him with a long-term contract? Of course, Radrizzani wouldn't be the first new owner to conclude that he wanted his own man in charge. And before Monk resigned, word was already out that the new Leeds owner was planning to appoint Victor Orta. The Spaniard, who was Boro's head of recruitment, formally took up his position as director of football on May 29. The prospect of working with Orta may not have been an enticing prospect for Monk, and any potential concern has subsequently been proven to have been justified. That's because Orta is basically in charge of recruitment in the first team, with head coach Thomas Christiansen answerable to him. Monk, who is very much his own man with his own ideas and deeply held beliefs, would have found such a chain of command intolerable. The Leeds fans claim Monk resigned knowing he was on the verge of taking charge at Middlesbrough. But the chain of events doesn't back that up. He resigned his post at United on May 25, just 4 days after Boro's final game of the season at Liverpool, and was officially appointed by Middlesbrough on June 9. So he didn't walk out of one job and straight into another. And when Steve Gibson compiled a short list for a long-term appointment in the hours and days after the defeat at Anfield, Monk wasn't the only name. Monk left Leeds because he didn't get the assurances he was looking for. Simple as that. Had he received those assurances, he would have almost certainly stayed. And that's really all there is to it.